Hi, everybody. This little Zoom is going out to students of Professor Jennifer Lenahan Cleary. She and I were talking the other day, and she suggested, based on my sales background, to record a little bit of a sales pitch on selling. It's called Social Styles of Selling. A little bit of a background. I went to Rutgers in the 60s, graduated with 2 pharmacy degrees, did some pharmacy, retail, then got into sales and worked for 25 years for a company called Exotica, the largest eyewear manufacturer in the world. And I spent those 25 years working for the richest Italians in the world, I guess 25, 30 billion. And during that time, they were very meticulous about educating their sales managers and their employees. So I took about 50 courses in selling, in leadership, in training, the whole package. Then I left there and decided to become a novelist, a journalist, a broadcaster. And thanks to Professor Cleary, I also became an instructor in career explorations at Rutgers. Now I'm a podcaster. So there's a lot of courses and there's a lot of stuff that goes into this thing up here. And I actually gave this little tutorial to Professor Cleary the other day, and she suggested I put it together. And it's funny, out of all the courses that I've taken in my days through Rutgers and afterwards, this particular course, and I'm holding up a pair of eyeglasses, was probably one of the most practical courses I ever took. And when I first took it, I was in sales. And when I started to apply some of the things I learned, I would finish making a sale, go back into my car and get hysterical laughing. Like, this stuff really works. Wow. The power of a word or two when you're with someone. So here goes this whole lengthy course, which I'm going to compact into several minutes. And the premise is life is a sale. Everything you do in life is a sale. If you think about it, you know, you're with a friend and the friend wants to go into New York City to eat, and the other friend wants to go to Hoboken. So that is a sale. Who's going to win the sale and where you're going to wind up eating? It's even reduced to that simplistic thing. So here's this presentation now tailored to eyewear sales, but it applies to just about everything in life. So here goes. There are, and by the way, you can find me, and I'm more than happy always to reach out to Rutgers students because I'm a Rutgers guy, and before the pandemic, I was on campus 150 times a year for a variety of things, and that's, I guess you can call that OCD, obsessive compulsive, and that's perfectly fine because I love Rutgers. So here goes. The sale, there are 4 types of people who do the buying, which means there are 4 types of people. There's a driver personality. That's somebody who needs to be in control. And again, you can take that and use that with friends, with relatives, with anybody in your world. So there's a driver type personality, needs to be in control. The other type of buyer is an amiable type of personality, of which most of us are kind of amiable, if you think about it. Then there's an analytical type personality, and then there's an expressive type personality, and there's combinations of everybody. So somebody could be a driver, amiable. It's you can mix and match, but let's look at each individual type of personality. Driver, and I'm going to start with driver, and this is my favorite category because it's powerful. I mean, this is powerful stuff. A driver type personality is somebody who needs to be in control completely. So here's the scenario. If I'm a salesman and I want to go in to sell someone who I have determined is somebody who just needs to be in control, wants to be the boss, is the authority. And I go in to sell him this particular eyeglass frame. And I know he's a driver. And I say to him, you know, you should buy this. It's a great frame. It's wonderful. You really should buy it. Well, the minute I say it like that, he ain't gonna buy this because I've taken away his control and I've told him basically what he should do. And being a driver type person, he doesn't want to hear that at all. So and watch the power of one word or two. And he says, no, thank you, Calvin. I don't want to, it's not for me. But if I had gone into him and I said, do you think you could use this frame? So I'm asking him his authority. Do you think? So I'm giving him the power and the authority that he needs. And I'm taking down any kind of walls of confrontation. And I'm saying, do you think you could use this? Well, then the walls of confrontation are down. I've given him all the power and authority he needs. And I'm relinquishing whatever I want to relinquish. Do you think you could use that? And he'll say to me, yeah, good idea. Yeah, send me a couple dozen. Point being, when I first started to use this, and I would encounter drivers, remember I was selling for 25 years, so I basically knew all my accounts and type personalities they were. But when I had this extra tool, and I would go into a driver and I said, do you think you could use this? And he said, yeah, all right, Calvin, give me a couple dozen. So I'd write up the order and I go into my car and I get hysterical laughing. I said, my God, this stuff works. And, you know, we all take courses. I've taken a ton. You guys have all taken a ton of courses. And fractionating the courses into something that's really practical doesn't, you know, a lot of times doesn't, you know, happen in the real world. But this really happens and it worked for me. So I make a sale and I go to my car and I get hysterical laughing. Stuff works. So that's the first type of personality. To me, it's the most dramatic. Second type of personality, which is also dramatic, is the amiable type personality. And again, a lot of us are amiable. We want to be liked, and that's you know, it's a whole psychological thing about people. They want to be liked, and they want to follow kind of a leader, and they kind of want to vote red or blue or gray or whatever. So it's pretty easy to determine somebody who's amiable. So armed with that knowledge, and I go into an account, and I know the buyer is an amiable type personality. They always want to be liked, and I go to them and I say, by the way, everybody, just so you know, everybody in Middlesex County has bought this frame. It's unbelievable. It's like a Middlesex County frame. And the amiable personality will say to me, oh, well, you better give it to me. Yeah, sure. I don't want to be left out. Give it to me. And once again, I go back in my car and I got hysterical laughing because it was so easy. I mean, it really was easy. So when you determine somebody's an amiable, you feed them the lines and the words that want to include them. And they'll be much more responsive and want to be included. And whatever sale you're trying to make, you're going to make because you're including them. These are subtle, almost subtle type of approaches. But I got to tell you, for me, in selling this stuff, it worked. So that's second type personality. And next it gets a little more, not necessarily vague, but the next type is an analytical. And fortunately, there's not that many analyticals around. Analytical, you just got to feed them statistics and numbers and Google reports and stuff like that. So I got into, armed with this new knowledge, I would go into an analytical type personality, and I'd do all my homework the night before as best I can to research, and I would go into that analytical person, and I'd say, interestingly enough, 78% of the people buy this. And even better is the sell-through is 68%. So, and compared to 34% normal sell-through, this is 68%. And these are all numbers and statistics that the analytical feeds on and thrives on. And it'll say, all right, I'll take a dozen, or give me 6. So the point being, analyticals, you've got to be a little bit more concrete and more statistical. And of course, in this day and age, you have every kind of tool in the world. I only had an encyclopedia when I was growing up. If you all know what that is, there was no such thing as the internet, and so forth and so on. So that's the analytical. And again, these are all things you can use in everyday life as you judge and evaluate people, type of personalities they are, and the things you want to accomplish, and the point you want to get across, and the sale you want to make. I mean, you and a friend want to go out to a restaurant, and if it's an analytical, and you say, 89% of people go to this restaurant and love it. It's like an unbelievable thing. They just, and things like that, a little far-fetched, but the point being, that's how you get to an amiable. And finally, probably to me the most the vaguest classification is an expressive. I'm part expressive, and dealing with an expressive personality is you don't necessarily want to bring up trying to sell this. I'm there to sell this frame, but while I'm there and I know this person's expressive, I'll start talking about everything under the sun, from Rutgers football, basketball, to baseball season. I mean, to the latest movie I saw, to some old movie. In other words, I'm engaging that expressive personality in a ton of things, just talking and talking. And while we're talking, I'm showing, and they're not paying a hell of a lot of attention. And yeah, give me that, give me this one, give me that one, give me another one. So in other words, I'm writing up a great order, and I'm engaging and bonding. Very important word, bonding, and you're not looking for any kind of confrontational conversation, but bonding. And while you're doing the bonding and talking and engaging, and of course, I would do all my homework to know the magic buttons to press with that particular buyer, because I would keep little cards, and I'd know the important things to talk about. Positivity, you don't want confrontation, you don't want negativity, you want positivity. So, and while I'm doing all these positive things, engaging in things this person likes, I keep on selling frames. And I can't tell you how many times in my selling career that while I was engaging an expressive type personality, we're just talking about the world, and I can talk, as you can gather. I would talk for an hour and a half, and I've written like 100 frame order, 100 of these things. And then when I'm done, I can't tell you how many times this has happened. Personally, my God, I don't believe I bought 100 frames. That's a big order. I'll say, and it's all, and the buyer said, well, give it to me. We spent an hour and a half. Yeah, sure. So those, I could stretch all this out, and I won't. But those are really powerful points, and it's above and beyond selling eyeglasses. It's about selling parts of life, and folks, the stuff works. It's good stuff. So closing, I'm always around. You can find me on LinkedIn, Calvin Schwartz. I'm extremely responsive to the world of Rutgers. I love our alma mater, as you can see. That's the backdrop for my global podcast, which I do several times a week. But anyway, I thank you for your indulgence. Always thanks to Professor Jennifer Lenahan Cleary, who made me a Rutgers lecturer, and one of the greatest things I've ever done in my life. So Thank you all. Enjoy this and be well. How are you?